What happened to Steam, man? You used to log in and see Call of Duty, Skyrim, maybe a new Assassin's Creed. Now it's Lethal Company, just sold 15 million copies made by one guy in a hoodie. Steam these days looks like an indie buffet. You've got horror games made by three dudes in a basement, farming sims with more emotional depth than most marriages, and deck building roguelikes for people who clearly hate themselves. And the wild part, they're dominating. Indie games aren't just surviving anymore, they're running the whole show. So today we're diving into how and why indie games completely took over Steam and why the future of gaming might just belong to the little guys with big dreams and questionable sleep schedules. Let's rewind. Once upon a time, Steam was this polished storefront for Valve games, Half-Life, Team Fortress, Portal, basically a shrine to Gordon Freeman's beard. Then Valve said, you know what? Let's open the floodgates. They dropped Steam Greenlight and later Early Access, and suddenly the gates of heaven or hell open wide. Overnight, everyone with Unity and a dream started uploading. You had masterpieces like Terraria and The Binding of Isaac, and you also had, let's just call them creative experiments that should have stayed on someone's hard drive. But that chaos, that's what birthed the indie revolution. Because hidden inside that avalanche of weirdness were games so original they redefined what gaming could be. Here's the big shift. AAA games polish everything to perfection. Lighting, reflections, character pores. There's a team whose whole job is just to make sure Nathan Drake's sweat glistens properly. Indie devs, they're like, I made this in my pajamas at 3 a.m. Sometimes the enemies walk through walls, but you'll cry by the end. And we love it. We don't care about the graphics as long as the soul's there. Stardew Valley was made by one guy. One! And that man made the whole world forget about real farming. Undertale looked like it was drawn on a calculator, but it made people sob harder than the end of Toy Story 3. And Lethal Company, 4 maps, no marketing, instant phenomenon. Because when personality beats polish, you win hearts, not just headlines. Let's be honest, indie games mastered the new meta, going viral. One YouTuber screams at a scary hallway for 15 minutes and boom, 3 million people buy the game. A Twitch streamer laughs at a weird glitch, and suddenly that glitch is a meme. Influencers have basically become indie marketing departments. AAA studios spend millions on trailers and cinematic universes. Indie devs, they spend 20 bucks on a logo and let the internet do the rest. It's the word of mouth economy. Games like Phasmophobia, Among Us, Balatro, or Only Up became sensations not because of ads, because people couldn't shut up about them. The internet loves underdogs, and nothing says underdog like a dude named Kevin making a $5 horror game that outsells Battlefield. And here's where the magic really happens. Indie devs don't have to answer to executives. No meetings, no synergy reviews, no PowerPoints titled Brand Alignment Opportunities. If they want to make a game about being a depressed frog with a saxophone, they can, and somehow it'll probably be a masterpiece. AAA studios play it safe most of the time. Sequels, reboots, and open world fatigue. Meanwhile, indie devs are like, what if cooking soup also unlocked the secrets of time travel? And we're all just sitting here going, yeah, I'll play that. They're fearless. They experiment. When AAA gives you the same sequel every 2 years, indie gives you something you've never seen before, and sometimes don't even understand, until it breaks your heart. And can we talk about price tags? AAA, $70 plus DLC plus Battle Pass plus microtransactions. Indie, $15, no strings attached, maybe a cat. Gamers are tired of being nickel and dimed, and I've brought this up in previous videos many times before. You can buy 3 indie games for the price of one AAA disappointment. It's like buying a latte that never ends. Except instead of caffeine, it's serotonin and emotional damage. You don't need RTX Ultra Mega Mode to have fun. Sometimes you just need pixels and passion. Steam deserves some credit here too. Its algorithm actually rewards creativity. Games with great reviews shoot up the charts, even without big publishers. If your game is fun, weird, and overwhelmingly positive, Steam basically hands you the keys to the kingdom. That review system turned the community into the critics. Forget Metacritic. Steam's thumb up culture is where reputations are made and memes are born. If your game makes people laugh, cry, or rage quit with joy, you're golden. Steam's entire culture revolves around discovery, and that's where indies thrive. All right, so now let's shift back to the big guys for a second. Ubisoft, EA, Activision, oh boy. These studios have budgets the size of small countries, and yet somehow every year we get new Assassin's Creed, slightly more parkour edition. EA drops another FIFA with one new menu color. Ubisoft releases a game that requires 200 gigabytes and still crashes at the title screen. And Bethesda, well, we love them, but I'm still waiting for an NPC in Starfield to blink naturally. AAA games have turned into theme parks. Huge, shiny, impressive, but everything's on rails. Indies, meanwhile, feel like backyard carnivals, risky, unpredictable, but way more fun. And the irony is that AAA is now chasing indie vibes. They want to be cozy, they want to be authentic, but you can't fake heart, not even with mocap. And that's why the industry's changing. So many developers have left big studios to go indie. Ex-Blizzard folks made Dark and Darker. Ex-BioWare people are building emotional RPGs with teams of 5. The power dynamic flipped. 10 years ago, indie devs dreamed of joining AAA. Now AAA devs dream of escaping it. Indie games have become the R&D labs of the entire industry. They take the risk, test new ideas, and AAA studios copy them 2 years later with worse writing and loot boxes. What really makes indies special, though, is connection. You can feel the humanity behind them. When a solo dev thanks you in the credits, it hits different. When a bug makes your character T-pose into the sun, you don't rage. You laugh because you know someone's cat probably walked across the keyboard while coding that scene. Indie games make you care. They make you remember what it's like to discover, not just consume. They remind you that fun doesn't need a subscription plan. It's not just pixels, it's personal. And that's something money can't manufacture. So where's all this going? The next decade of gaming will belong to small teams and bold ideas. People don't want the biggest worlds, they want the most meaningful ones. We're seeing the rise of games made with passion, not panels. Games that feel alive. And look, AAA isn't going anywhere. We'll always have our blockbusters. But if you want to know where gaming's soul is right now, it's sitting on Steam for $19.99 with a hand-drawn thumbnail and an update log that just says, "Fix the dog." Indie games didn't just change the market, they reminded us why we fell in love with gaming in the first place. So next time someone asks what the future of gaming looks like, tell them it's pixelated, heartfelt, and maybe a little janky, but it's real. And that's exactly why it's beautiful. As always, I'm Kyler Ray. Thanks for tuning in. As always, like, subscribe, and comment down below what you think of indie games and some of your personal favorites currently, if any, and I'll catch you on the next one.